Hey all, Rob here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when new videos are out. On this video, YouTube is starting next year putting new regulations in place that will affect primarily channels aimed at children or kids, you could say. And this is the problem, okay? And this is going to be maybe a pretty big talk. You know, some of the things they say is, and I've already noticed it on my channel, that when you try to upload a video, as I'm making this video this week, there's a notification at the top that said something like, is this kids content or isn't? And I put, of course, no. And I put that on the settings, and it should be done. But whatever their system is that's screwed up, I still got pop-up notice every video this week that I'm trying to upload about this kids notice thing. Well, I already set it on the main settings, no. My channel has always been aimed towards the adult collector market and the comic book fan, and I would say teenagers, or older teenagers at the very youngest. That's always been the aim of this channel, to be after that market. Mostly the adult market, just like you're watching this video probably. And this new legislation, just one of those fines if it hit a YouTuber, would send most anyone broke, if you're not broke already. And this is the problem, okay? And let me talk about it. I gotta take a step back first and explain why the golden age of the internet is going away. We are witnessing history right now. I want the old YouTube back, how it was near the beginning, when you were free to say anything you wanted, when you were free to use music in your videos. That internet. Remember those days? And now if you even try to put a little music, I've had videos, old ones, where I had background store music, which I couldn't control, and it would get a flag because of background store music. And it was like so low you could hardly tell. It wasn't even loud enough. This is how the system is now. But we got to step back about a year or two ago, and this is how I see it, okay? In a period of about, I think it was 24 hours, the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones got banned from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and other sites, and people were in the mainstream media cheering to ban the guy, to deplatform him is the word. But the reason why that wasn't a good thing, and what people didn't see, and that he had explained, is once they go for the big guys, once they go for the big dogs like him, guess what? They're going to scale it back until one day they go for you and your social media and your channel. And this is exactly what has happened. First they say the thing that they will call hate speech, quote unquote. The problem with that is it might sound good, but exactly what is hate speech? How do you define it? It is such a broad term. That is the bad thing. That's why it's such a broad term that it basically means you go after whoever you want to ban. And now this is how it has, and let's say the word, trickled down to now individual users, not the top guys anymore. You know, there have been videos and posts I wanted to make on other topics to talk about, but I've not posted it on YouTube. And the answer is, they have put the fear that now you have self-censorship, where you don't want to talk about certain topics because they might be controversial. And if you get a flag or a couple of them, heck, they might pull your channel down, they might demonetize you, they might screw up your entire thing that you worked on. And so this is that genie back in the bottle. Once they did things like they banned Alex Jones, once they did things like quote unquote hate speech, once they did things like this, now you're getting to going after the toys channels. And I will put comic books in there because usually a lot of this stuff is superhero toys and action figures, right? Or Star Wars and sci-fi. What they're saying now is, let's say, for example, and again, if I don't know the exact details because I didn't read it all or get all the little variations in there, but from what I've read, it seems like if you say that you are a kids channel, they will turn off things like monetization, community settings to chat with your community like. They will turn off comments, and you won't even be in the search engine as much in terms of the algorithm. In other words, if you say you're a kids channel, you're basically going to lose your money advantages and all the special features, and you're going to be basically cast away. You'll still exist, but you'll be like so far out that you won't even go anywhere. They're going to cut off all options if you said that. And if you're not a kids channel, thing is they use AI to do these searches. I remember I had a video years ago, this is like years old, that got a content claim or something from Warner Brothers. I think the Dark Knight movie. And this was a years old video that didn't even have many views. And I was like, why would someone go after a video that was years old and it didn't even have many views? It's like, and so I just deleted the video. So I question, let's say once this content policy gets active next year, what's going to be safe? If you're a video with 1,000 or 2,000 or more videos, can they reach back 5 or 10 years, let's say, and point to a video here or there that you made 4, 5, 8 years ago, and then blame you and flag it and try to put you in trouble for stuff way back then? Is that fair? Is that right? Again, one thing about YouTube and one thing about social media like Twitter or Instagram is that not only is it a social media platform, it's also an archive of what you did over the years and over the months. Not only for the fans or the community, but for you as well. It's your personal archive of what you made. Your videos, your posts, your pictures. This is a timeline, okay? It's not just social media. It's a representation of your work, of your brand, of even you. And so to try to ban your channel or delete your channel, it's like they're going after something that you have worked on, something that you have tried to accomplish, and they are going after it. How fair is that? How is that right? And now I'm reading, and I didn't even notice, this is even something new. Another policy is that they want to go after or possibly delete channels that are not commercially viable or something like that. And it's like, again, open-ended language. Just like this content for kids or children. It's so open-ended that what does this encompass? If you review a kid's movie or a toy that's meant for adults that could be represented the wrong way, that does, it is such an all-encompassing term. Okay, the real answer would be to that problem is, it's basically like a very small percent is doing bad and everyone else is fine. But what they're going to do is punish the whole entire community of everyone else who's fine for the small percent that's doing bad stuff. So you who are innocent have to pay the price and be under scrutiny. The obvious thing which they don't want to do is, okay, if a channel gets reported, take on it, look at it case by case basis, and if you want to ban it or take action, that's the way it should be. Take it out on an individual case when things get brought up. You shouldn't just put everyone under an umbrella term and put that fear into them. Okay, so that's how I view it. That would have been the easy solution, but they don't want to do that way. And it's about power, it's about control, it's about restricting your freedoms and finding new ways to do this. Like I said, the golden age of social media and you saying what you want or what you feel, that's gone. They're putting the genie back in the bottle. They're trying to control it all. So now this thing about deleting channels in the future if they're not commercially viable. What is that about? You know, what is that? So let me get this. It's so open-ended, I'm going to interpret it my way. I think it means if your channel isn't producing good content or popular in views or is really active and has an audience, we will feel free to delete you just because we can, just because we want to. That's how I interpret it. What does commercially viable mean? Is this YouTube platform going to become just a form of marketing or making money that is, you have to have an audience and a brand? You know, the original YouTube and what it was about, I thought was about anyone with a cheap camera just to talk about whatever you want, to share your life, and it was kind of like a backdoor in the woods, feel free to talk about anything and just chill out. Just chill, have fun type of thing, into what is now becoming, it seems, more and more just like making TV series, making a professional production. You know, I see some of these channels, right, that I follow, and they're like a professional production. When I'm talking, they have a person doing the lighting, they have like over a $5,000 camera, they have a producer, they have an editor, and it's like a real production. And that's not what YouTube was supposed to be. It was supposed to be about you having a camera and just talking to it, just simple stuff. And that's why it became popular. That's why it became famous and took off. Now it seems they're trying to scale it back so that only certain standards will be applied. They want you to have certain standards now. And I'll tell you what's going to happen next, okay? I'm sure this will happen if it hasn't already, okay? At some point, what YouTube is going to say, or they're going to do, and this is my prediction, so what I'm saying now is not a rule or something that's happened yet, but I feel this is the way they're going. They're going to have a new rule, if it doesn't exist already, that will say if your channel is not actively uploading content by, let's say, I don't know, maybe a year's time frame, maybe a year and a half or two, we will feel free to delete your channel because you are no longer active and you are no longer producing stuff. We will just get rid of everything. I feel that's going to happen. I feel that is a step they're going to take, that they will delete channels that are not active anymore. Even if the person just decided not to make videos and they still use it to watch videos, if they're not regularly uploading content after a certain amount of time, they will feel free to delete it. Remember what I said about it being an archive and a timeline as well? They don't care. They will just delete it. Again, if the channel's not active for a year plus, they'll probably say it's not commercially viable either. So therefore, get rid of it. This is what's going to happen next. They're going to find an excuse to delete channels if they're not active after a certain amount of time. This is what it's leading to. And unfortunately, it does surprise me still that in various things there seems no legit competition. Think about it. You have Coca-Cola, you have Pepsi, main competition. You have McDonald's, and then you have Burger King or White Castle or Wendy's. You have something like Walmart, and you have Target. You have competition. But how come in social media there doesn't seem to be legit competition of a similar nature, unfortunately? You got YouTube, and who's the next legitimate competition that's close to it? Honestly, no one. You know, there are some other groups and some other sites that people have tried and are trying to go to, but they hardly have the audience of YouTube. They are not legit competition, and it's not happened yet. Then you have Google. Who's the legit competition to the Google search engine? No one really. Then you have Instagram and Facebook especially, and Twitter. There's no legit competition doing something similar. You know, it surprises me. Even eBay. eBay doesn't have another auction site that is legit competition and something similar. It just surprises me after all these years and all this time and money, for example, there's no legitimate eBay competition. There's no legitimate Facebook competition. And I don't think at this point either that there's any legitimate YouTube competition at that level. But what they're doing with these restrictions of free speech, people are going to keep putting up with it. Despite some people saying they're going to leave and go to another platform, that platform will hardly have the audience that YouTube has. You know, that has the reach. And like I said, this is the genie in the bottle. They're putting it back in. The restrictions of freedom and putting the fear into you to self-censor that you can't make videos or talk about what you want. But what if you're a channel that has like 100,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, and you're making serious money? What about those channels? What happens to them? I also think what's going to happen to if they go after, I don't know, game channels. I think they have. I'm not really into the gaming aspect of YouTube, so I can't say. And there has been some trouble that I read over the years. But what happens if they go after the game channels? That would affect a large portion of that audience as well. And what happens if they go after, you know, some type of other review channels? Stuff like sci-fi or people like that. You don't know. This YouTube crackdown is going next year. It's going to really hurt the action figure and toy community. And then they might move on into other genres. We're going to see what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. And that's what I have to say on it. It's not right. And everyone is going to be more under surveillance instead of having freedom of like the old YouTube. And this is what's happening. The problem is you don't know how serious the government will be. You know, this could just be a big nothing that they put these rules into place and they're not really enforced, that they're not really no one is brought up or fined or nothing really. You know, it's just something on the paper, something to write down, but on the books, but something that will not be enforced. But at the same time, you honestly don't know. What if they do enforce it? What if they make an example out of a few people, and those few unfortunate people literally will have to pay the price? Then everyone else will go running scared, guaranteed, because they would fear they might be next. You see, all it takes is a few examples. And if you're one of the people at that end of the stick being made an example of, you know, you don't want it to be you. That would be absolutely horrible and terrible. But that's the question. If they enforce it, those first few cases, especially if it hits a toy or a collecting community, that will be the thing that will send everyone running. And you know, it does make me question that the future of YouTube, and as I mentioned, because I like to say it again, that for these people who've had channels for many years, this is a timeline. It's an archive of your history, of all the years you spent. You could see it in order. And then when you're at your dashboard privately, you could see when you uploaded videos, what day, what year. It's more than just posting videos. It's who you were and are from all the years you've been posting. It's a representation of you. Dismiss you out of all the work you've done. That's not right. At the same time, they're also putting this new thing about commercially viable, which I don't think has really gone in depth and detail what that means. Finally, where does that leave my channel, and what are my future plans for it, you could say? Well, the one thing I realized is, unfortunately, I'm going to change my channel name slightly just to be on the safe side. You know, I didn't want to because it's something I established for a long time. But I'm just going to change it slightly. I'm not going to change the channel mascot or logos. I'm going to keep that stuff the same. I'm not going to delete any videos from the archive unless they give me a notice or say something. Then I will either unlist it or put it private, because it's like a timeline, like I said. Or if I have to delete it, then I'll have no choice. But only if they say something or complain. Otherwise, I'm not going to change the stuff I made in the past. It's going to stay there to view. I've already, since I've returned to making videos, I have stopped making toy reviews anyway. But I might do the occasional, like I had a shelf display just to say, what's on my shelf? Take a look. That's not really a toy review or anything like that. So maybe those on rare occasions. But I still think comic books are more of a safer category to talk on. So if I get any new books to review, then I will review those comic books. Still, just like you've seen before, similar format. I don't think that's going to go away from this channel. As well as talking about MCU movie news or superhero news, things like that, sci-fi type news. Those will be something I continue. There was something I did want to add is, it's funny, just as this stuff about toy reviews and going after those channels, I wanted to add movie reviews to this channel, like a quick talk on it. But one of my focuses will not be on what is popular in the cinema it will be what is like on free TV. Stuff that might be on Amazon Prime, stuff that might be on some TV show apps or movie apps in particular. So stuff, in other words, you could access and watch for free yourself. That's some movie reviews I wanted to do, which I could start adding to. And I think what some of these other channels, toy channels, are going to have to do is what I plan to do anyway, and you've seen on occasion here, is just talk on real life, talk on different topics, whether it be topics that's going on currently in the news, or your thoughts about what's going on in entertainment industry, things like that. I've been bringing that up on occasion. I think that will be more of a focus as well. But I really think this whole talking about action figures is not going to be a focus for many channels in the future. Not just mine, but for others as well. So that's my thoughts about what I'm doing here and what my plans are. So thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the notification buttons, and I'll talk to you later.